My piece is called Many in One, and that comes from the title of a poem by Walt Whitman from his Leaves of Grass. And like many of my pieces, I have literary allusions. That doesn't mean that I read a poem and then write a piece about it. Usually I start the piece first, and then I sort of, maybe I get stuck, and then I see where that piece is going, and then the literary aspect comes through. It's a dialogue between the solitary and collective identities. And of course you see that heritage going back to the Concerto Grosso. And that's what this particular poem is about. Again, the solitude and versus the more communal and collective.
Your piece begins with something really quite unusual,
right.
I think.
Yes.
And that is fairly extensive in terms of the length of the piece, right. Anyway. Mm-hmm. Fairly extensive violin solo,
right.
Which is not, however, to be played by the concertmaster or mistress, but to be played by someone in the back of the violin section.
Right.
And my first thought was, my concertmaster is going to say, "Oh yeah, this is great, isn't it?" Yeah.
But that's all part of the
I've worked that out.
Yeah.
I've worked that out.
Right, and then it's all part of the sense of the solitary, of you know, the single person in the back as part of the community.
So it's the many in one.
Right. That's many in one, and actually, you know, in the original, my original conception, it wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be the concertmaster, right? You know, or concertmistress. Right. But then this, as it gradually evolved. Now the piece is in terms of the structure, is in a palindrome. Okay. There we go, got some influence from Bartok there, right? But then in the fulcrum of it is naturally a fugue, okay? And a lot of the fugal statement is related to these solos. And there's a solo at the very end to that sort of a commentary, again, and that's in the back. At the end of this fugal section, then the concertmaster or concertmistress does get to actually play, and it's kind of at odds against it. Again, so this is all about this whole idea of the solidarity and the collective identities. And there's some other little solos that come up with that. As far as how I've constructed it, yours is based on 5 notes, right? Mine is actually based on a 12-tone row. And actually, I've always wanted, when I was a teenager, I wanted to write a total serialist. Because I never wanted to be a whole piece.
I've never heard of a teenager thinking in those terms.
I found some of my old notes of trying to do it. I was back at home and I actually found some of this old, because we were cleaning out, my brother was cleaning out some of our old junk. And, but I wanted never to be a whole piece. I wanted it to be part of something. And in this particular instance, is the Dies Irae, so this got some sort of symbolic reason for it. So that kind of got me started, and I'm fascinated by the use of 12-tone rows, not always in the way that Schoenberg or his associates would have written, and I've developed some of my own techniques. Sometimes it's totally, and there's parts of this that are totally serialized, 3 or 4 rows, and particularly the more contrapuntal stuff, sort of before and after the fugue.